The morning sun spilled through the kitchen window, casting a golden glow over the breakfast table. Daniel sipped his coffee, the bitter warmth grounding him as he glanced at his wife, Sophia, and their 7-year-old daughter, Lily. The house was a modest 2-story in a quiet suburban neighborhood, filled with the clutter of a young family coloring books strewn across the couch, a half-finished puzzle on the dining table, and Lily's favorite stuffed bunny, Mr. Flops, perched precariously on a chair. Soph, you sure you're okay with me heading out today? Daniel asked, setting his mug down. He was a freelance photographer, and a last-minute gig had come up, a wedding shoot 2 hours away. It was good money, the kind they couldn't afford to turn down, especially with Lily's school fees due next month. Sophia, her dark hair pulled into a messy bun, smiled over her tea. We'll be fine, Dan. Mum's coming over to help. Lily's been begging for a girls' day anyway. She winked at their daughter, who was busy smearing jam on her toast, leaving a sticky trail on the table. Lily looked up, her hazel eyes sparkling. Is Grandma Rose bringing cookies? She always brings cookies. Daniel chuckled, ruffling Lily's hair. Only if you promise not to eat them all before lunch. Sophia's mother, Rose, was a force of nature, warm, opinionated, and fiercely devoted to her granddaughter. She lived a short drive away and often swooped in to help with Lily, especially when Daniel and Sophia's schedules clashed. Today, with Daniel gone for the day, Rose's presence felt like a safety net. I'll be back by 9 tonight, Daniel said, grabbing his camera bag. Call me if anything comes up, okay? Sophia waved him off with a playful roll of her eyes. Go take your fancy pictures. We've got this. As Daniel kissed Lily's forehead and hugged Sophia, he felt a familiar twinge of guilt. He hated leaving them, even for a day. But work was work, and the bills wouldn't pay themselves. With a final wave, he stepped out into the crisp morning air, unaware that this ordinary day would unravel into something extraordinary. Chapter 2. The arrival of Rose. Rose arrived at 10 o'clock sharp, her silver SUV pulling into the driveway with the precision of a woman who never missed a beat. She stepped out, her gray hair neatly pinned, carrying a canvas tote bag that undoubtedly held her famous oatmeal cookies and a few surprises for Lily. Grandma. Lily squealed, barreling out the front door and into Rose's arms. There's my favorite girl, Rose said, her voice rich with affection. She hugged Lily tightly, then glanced at Sophia, who was leaning against the doorframe. You look tired, love. Rough night. Sophia shrugged, brushing off the comment. Just the usual. Lily decided 2 a.m. was the perfect time to tell me about her dream where Mr. Flops became a superhero. Rose laughed, stepping inside. Well, let's make today fun. I've got big plans. She pulled out a small craft kit from her bag, glitter, glue, and colorful paper. We're making fairy houses today, Lily. What do you think? Lily's eyes widened. Can we make one for Mr. Flops too? Of course, Rose said, already setting up on the dining table. Sophia watched them, a pang of gratitude mixing with something else, maybe unease. Rose was a godsend, but her strong personality sometimes clashed with Sophia's quieter, more reserved nature. They'd had their share of disagreements over the years, mostly small things: Rose's tendency to spoil Lily, her unsolicited advice on parenting, or her habit of rearranging the kitchen to be more efficient. Sophia usually let it slide, but today, with Daniel gone, she felt a little more on edge. All right, you too, Sophia said, grabbing her purse. I'm running to the store for a bit. Need anything? More glitter? Lily chirped. Rose raised an eyebrow. You're leaving me with this glitter monster already? Sophia smirked. You'll survive. I'll be back in an hour. As Sophia drove off, Rose and Lily dove into their craft project. The dining table became a chaos of sparkles and glue, with Lily's giggles filling the house. But as the morning unfolded, Rose noticed something: a subtle shift in Lily's chatter. The girl was talking about school, her friends, and then, out of nowhere, she said, "Mummy's been sad lately." Rose paused, a glue stick in hand. Sad? What do you mean, sweetheart? Lily shrugged, focused on cutting a piece of paper into a wonky heart. She cries sometimes when she thinks I'm asleep. I heard her last night. Rose's heart sank. She knew Sophia had been under stress: work, parenting, the usual pressures of life, but crying in secret? That was new. She made a mental note to talk to her daughter later, but for now, she kept her tone light. Grown ups get a little sad sometimes, love. But don't you worry. We're going to have the best day ever, okay? Lily nodded, but her small brow furrowed. As if she wasn't entirely convinced discovery, Sophia returned from the store with groceries and a forced smile. The truth was, she had been struggling. Work at her graphic design firm was relentless, and she'd been grappling with a quiet fear she hadn't shared with anyone, not even Daniel. She felt disconnected, like she was going through the motions of motherhood and marriage without truly being present. The weight of it had been building for weeks, and last night, alone in the bathroom, she'd let herself cry. She pushed the thoughts aside as she stepped into the house, expecting to find Lily and Rose elbow-deep in glitter. Instead, she found them in the living room, surrounded by old photo albums. Rose had pulled them out from a forgotten box in the guest room, and Lily was flipping through pages, wide-eyed. "Look, Mummy. It's you when you were little." Lily held up a photo of a young Sophia, gap-toothed and grinning, sitting on a swing. Sophia's heart clenched. She hadn't looked at those albums in years. "Where did you find these?" she asked, her voice sharper than intended. Rose glanced up, unfazed. "In the guest room closet. I thought it'd be fun for Lily to see. She's been asking about you as a kid." Sophia forced a smile, but her stomach twisted. Those albums held more than just nostalgic snapshots. They held memories she'd buried long ago. Memories of her father, who'd left when she was 10, and the years of hurt that followed. She'd never told Lily about him, and she wasn't sure she was ready to. "Let's put those away for now," Sophia said, reaching for the album. But Lily clutched it tightly. "No, I want to see more." "Who's this man?" She pointed to a photo of a younger Rose standing next to a tall, broad-shouldered man with a warm smile. Sophia's father. Rose's expression softened. "That's your grandpa, Lily. He was a good man, once upon a time." Sophia froze. "Mom, please." But Lily was already turning the page, her curiosity unstoppable. "Where is he now? Why don't I know him?" The room felt suddenly small, the air thick with unspoken tension. Sophia shot Rose a look, but Rose met her gaze steadily. "She's old enough to ask, Sophia. Maybe it's time." Sophia's hands trembled as she set the grocery bags down. "Not now. Not like this." Lily looked between them, confused. "Did I do something wrong?" "No, sweetheart," Sophia said quickly, kneeling beside her. "You didn't do anything wrong. It's just, some stories are hard to tell." Rose stood, placing a hand on Sophia's shoulder. "I'm sorry, love. I didn't mean to open old wounds. But she's curious, and she's smart. She deserves to know a little about her family." Sophia pulled away, her voice low. "It's not your place to decide that." The words hung in the air, sharp and heavy. Lily's eyes welled up, sensing the shift in the room. Rose opened her mouth to speak, but before she could, the doorbell rang, a jarring interruption that broke the tension. Chapter 4, The Stranger at the Door. Sophia crossed the room, grateful for the distraction. She opened the door to find a man standing there, mid-50s, with salt and pepper hair and a hesitant smile. He wore a faded jacket and carried a small, weathered envelope in his hand. "Sophia?" he asked, his voice soft but familiar in a way that made her heart stutter. She stared, her mind racing. It couldn't be. Not after all these years. Who are you?" He swallowed, his eyes searching hers. "It's me, James. Your father." The world tilted. Sophia gripped the doorframe, her knees weak. Lily peeked out from behind her, curious, while Rose stepped forward, her face a mix of shock and something else, recognition, maybe even relief. "James," Rose whispered, her voice trembling. "What are you doing here?" Lily tugged at Sophia's sleeve. "Mummy, who's that?" Sophia couldn't answer. Her throat was tight, her mind a storm of memories. James teaching her to ride a bike, James laughing at her terrible jokes, James walking out the door and never coming back. She'd spent years building a wall around those memories, and now here he was, standing on her doorstep like a ghost. "I know I don't deserve to be here," James said, his voice breaking. "But I've been trying to find you for years. I wanted to see you, to explain." "Explain?" Sophia's voice was sharp, cutting through the air. "You left us. You disappeared for 25 years, and now you want to explain." Rose stepped forward, her hand on Sophia's arm. "Let's hear him out, love. Not for him, for you." Sophia shook her head, tears stinging her eyes. "No, I can't do this. Not today." But Lily, ever curious, stepped closer to James. "Are you really my grandpa?" James's eyes softened, and he knelt to her level. "I am, little one. I'm so sorry I haven't been here before." Lily tilted her head, studying him. "Why weren't you?" The question was so simple, So innocent, it cut deeper than any accusation Sophia could have thrown. James looked up at her, his eyes pleading. I made mistakes. Big ones. But I'm here now, and I want to make things right. Sophia's chest ached. She wanted to slam the door, to protect Lily from this man who'd broken her heart all those years ago, but something in his eyes, regret, maybe, or sincerity, made her hesitate. Let him in, Sophia, Rose said quietly. Just for a moment. Against her better judgment, Sophia stepped aside. Chapter 5, Unraveling the past. The living room felt like a stage, every movement heavy with meaning. James sat on the edge of the couch, the envelope still in his hand, while Sophia stood across the room, arms crossed. Rose sat beside Lily, who was clutching Mr. Flops, her eyes darting between the adults. I don't know where to start, James said, his voice low. I left because I was a coward. Your mum and I, we were struggling. Money was tight, I was drinking too much, and I thought you'd both be better off without me. Sophia laughed bitterly. Better off? Do you know what it was like for us? Mum worked 2 jobs to keep us afloat. I grew up thinking I wasn't enough for you to stay. James flinched, his hands trembling. I know I failed you. I spent years running from that truth, moving from city to city, trying to start over. But I couldn't outrun it. About 5 years ago, I got sober. I started looking for you, but you'd moved, changed your name after you married. It took me this long to find you. He slid the envelope across the coffee table. These are letters I wrote over the years. I never sent them because I didn't think I had the right. But I kept them, hoping one day I'd get the chance to give them to you. Sophia stared at the envelope, her resolve wavering. She didn't want to care, didn't want to feel anything for this man. But Lily, sensing the weight of the moment, reached for the envelope and opened it. A stack of handwritten letters spilled out, some yellowed with age. Can I read one? Lily asked, looking at Sophia. Sophia hesitated, then nodded. Lily carefully unfolded a letter and read aloud in her clear, childish voice. Dear Sophia, I don't know if you'll ever read this, but I need you to know I'm sorry. I think about you every day, wondering what kind of woman you've become. I hope you're happy, and I hope you've found someone who loves you the way you deserve. I was a fool to leave, and I'll carry that regret forever. Love, Dad. The room was silent. Sophia's tears fell silently, and even Rose, usually so composed, wiped her eyes. Why now? Sophia asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Why show up now? James looked at her, his eyes raw. Because I'm sick, Sophia. I've got cancer. The doctors give me maybe a year. I didn't want to die without seeing you, without telling you I'm sorry. The words hit like a punch. Sophia sank into a chair, her anger warring with a grief she hadn't expected to feel. Lily climbed into her lap, hugging her tightly. Mummy, are you okay? Sophia nodded, holding her daughter close. I'm okay, sweetheart. I just need a minute. Rose spoke up, her voice steady despite the tears. This is a lot, James. You can't expect her to process this in one day. I know, he said. I don't expect forgiveness. I just wanted her to know the truth. Chapter 6, A day transformed. The rest of the day passed in a blur. James didn't stay long. He sensed Sophia needed space. He left the letters and his contact information, promising to respect her boundaries. After he was gone, Sophia, Rose, and Lily sat quietly, the photo album still open on the table. I'm sorry I pushed, Rose said finally. I thought seeing those photos would be fun, not this. Sophia sighed, her anger softening. It's not your fault, Mom. I've been avoiding this for years. Maybe it was time. Lily, still holding Mr. Flops, looked up. Is Grandpa James coming back? Sophia hesitated, then smiled faintly. Maybe, sweetie. We'll see. That evening, when Daniel returned, he found the house quieter than usual. Sophia told him everything, her voice breaking as she recounted James's visit. Daniel listened, holding her hand, and when she finished, he pulled her into a hug. We'll figure this out together, he said. Whatever you decide. The day had started as a simple one. Daniel leaving for work, Sophia running errands, Rose and Lily crafting fairy houses. But it had unraveled into something far bigger, a confrontation with the past, a crack in the walls Sophia had built, and a question about what family really meant. As Sophia tucked Lily into bed that night, her daughter whispered, I'm glad I met Grandpa James. Even if it made you sad. Sophia kissed her forehead. You're too wise for 7, you know that. Lily giggled, clutching Mr. Flops. I know. In the weeks that followed, Sophia read the letters, each one a piece of a man she'd tried to forget. She didn't forgive him, not yet, but she started to understand. And slowly, with Daniel's support and Rose's quiet wisdom, she began to heal, not just for herself but for Lily, who deserved to know her family, flaws and all. What started as a single day became a turning point.